Can Assetto Corsa Competizione hold its own in the sim racing scene in 2025? Keep watching to find out. So my fellow sim racers, welcome to the virtual cockpit of the Honda NSX GT3 car as I get ready to do battle against the AI around the wonderful Hungaroring here in Assetto Corsa Competizione as of mid-2025. But why? Why this title and why now? Well, as I alluded to in the video intro, the last 12 months have seen a real marked improvement and a step up in the GT3 spec machinery and racing experiences in other sim racing titles on the PC. And I wanted to see whether ACC, the original GT3 title, could still cut it, could still hold its own against the competition, because this sim racing title is at the complete opposite end of its development cycle. ACC on the PC hasn't received any updates of any form for the last 12 months. Nothing. But you've got titles like iRacing with its new GT3 overhaul, and especially what must be considered this title's direct competitor, Le Mans Ultimate, seeing a furious development cycle over the past 12 months. And it has just recently left early access and has now become version 1.0, their initial full release. So how does this title stack up? Where does it leave ACC in 2025 compared to the competition? Well, the good thing about not being in current development is that this title is basically on sale all the time. Any rhyme or reason that Kunos can put this game on sale via Steam, they will. And at the moment, it's part of the Racing Fest Sim Racing Sale collection. It's got like 75% off. It's more or less the cost of a posh cup of coffee. And I just wanted to see whether we should be considering this title in 2025 and making sure it is part of our sim racing collection. Now, the beauty of this title is that over its years of development, saw plenty of other sim racing series get added to the mix. For example, we have GT4 cars, which are absolutely amazing to drive. They rely a bit more on driver input to get the best out of them, and as a result are more engaging to drive, especially cars like the Ginetta. Oh, that's a fantastic car to drive. And then at the other end of the spectrum, they've included the GT2 spec cars, and those are insane. These GT3 cars have got about, give or take, 550 brake horsepower. The GT2 cars have got like 700, in some cases even more. So if you ever get the chance to try them out, especially the Maserati, oh my word, that is just a treat for your ears. The engine note of that is fantastic. So, you know, there are other disciplines to dabble with, but they're all licensed. So they're all official cars using, you know, CAD designs, proper race team data. So, you know, they're as close as you're ever going to get. But coming back to the meat of this title, the GT3 cars, you've got all of the officially licensed SRO GT3 cars from 2018 to 2024, which means there are some real gems in there, such as the privateer team entered Jaguar GT3. That car is a handful, but there's something about it being such a tricky car to drive, and the fact that it sounds absolutely amazing, that just draws me back into wanting to try it again and again and again. And it's just something you just don't find in any other sim racing title. Then you've got one of my other favourites, the big old Bentley GT3 car. What a boat. But again, doesn't go around corners, but that thing could go down a straight like a supersonic jet. Such an amazing experience. And it's all included. Yeah, we've got 25 of some of the best race circuits around the world to race on. Admittedly, you will have to add some of the DLC in to get all of them. You know, they've even got the mighty Nordschleife in here, and they're all laser scanned, so they've really got millimeter accuracy, all the bumps. So there is a lot to enjoy with ACC. Now, from a handling perspective, one of the last things they ever did to this title before development ceased was include a brand new tyre model with a new contact patch, and that really transformed this side title. You can really, the cars feel like they're actually, you know, racing on the track surface now, and the two seem to work together. Now I've got a Asetek Prima direct drive wheel. The force feedback is super informative, super clean, and very precise and responsive. Oh, you know exactly what the car's doing, understeer, oversteer, and it sends you the information quickly, so if you've got the skill, you can keep the car pointing in the right direction. I do find the curbs are very well done. You can tell the difference between like a sausage curb and a sawtooth curb, but there is a slight issue that if you go too far over the edge of the curb and get a wheel off track, is that the cars will unrealistically bounce. You know, they'll either pitch back and forth or left and right, but they really do violently want to jump as if I don't know, that it's got a very low mesh count for any off-track areas, which is a shame because you can't be too cheeky with some of the track limits. But it's not a deal breaker, it's not the end of the world, and it is an edge case. And 9 times out of 10 you'll only notice it if you've got things really wrong. But apart from that, these cars do feel really nice. One of the biggest problems this sim racing title always had, and still does have, is the fact that it uses the Unreal Engine, which unfortunately, oh, little cheeky dive there, look, from the AI, means that it's a resource hog. And I'll tell you what, it's only now in 2025 with my 59X CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, and the Nvidia 5070 Ti that I could finally run this sim racing title on Epic. Even then, or even now, I have to be a little bit careful at how high resolution I have for my mirrors, because it will cause the odd stutter, especially if there's a lot of on-track action going on around me. It was such a shame that they went with a proprietary game engine and didn't build their own like they did with AC, or that they are now doing with Assetto Corsa EVO. You know, one of the good things is this title does support VR, but what it takes to get this thing to run in VR and it not be a blurry mess is, you've got to be dedicated. I did get it working with a 3080 Ti and a Rift S, but it was never really very stable, and I quickly went back to racing this title on a monitor. So, you know, it lacks the graphical fidelity of Le Mans Ultimate or Automobilista 2, which looks fantastic, yet can run on any PC made in the last 10 years. You know, I don't know how quite they've done it. That Madness engine is really optimized. But we've still got weather. We've still got day-night transitions. So there's still a lot packed in here, and thankfully, you know, that the Unreal Engine is only powering the graphics and not the physics. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's just that it is starting to show its age a little bit when compared with the newer sim racing titles that have come out or seen a big development boost over the last 12 months. But one of the things that this title does really well is the sounds. You've got a really nice, you know, engine model there, sound model. It doesn't sound digital, you know, the cars do have a rawness to them, which is really nice. And they will pick up, you can hear the rubber and the gravel being thrown up under the wheel arches as the races develop on, or you go a little bit too far off track. Some of the GT4 cars, they do have that final drive, that transmission whine, which really adds to the oral experience. There's so much this title does right, you know. And the biggest thing about this, the groundbreaking feature, was that it was a niche title. It was dedicated to the official SRO GT3 series, and we hadn't seen that before really. Most of the big sim racing titles on the PC, you know, were multi-purpose sims. They featured a plethora of cars and tracks. They allowed modding, and then this title came along and it was hyper focused just on GT3 cars initially. No modding. And you know, it divided the community. There was a lot of opinions one way or the other. I like GT3 cars, and I do like a sim racing title that's just plug and play. No fiddling around, no setting up. No waiting, make sure you've got the latest mod, you've got this mod that works with that, you know. So for me, it really suited me. But it's led to more focused titles. Look at, you know, Would Le Mans Ultimate, which is the, you know, focused in on the World Endurance Championship. Would have that existed if it wasn't for ACC and its popularity of the GT3 cars? Who knows? But it certainly opened up the sim racing genre to, you know, have both kinds of titles, these big open world type titles with lots of content, and then smaller, more niche titles. And there's room for everything to exist. And ACC still has a good online community. I was able to use the multiplayer function, jump in a few quick GT3 races. Admittedly, my choices were either Monza or Spa, but they're two circuits that always produce good racing when it comes to GT3 cars. So, and low fuel motorsport, they're integrated into ACC and they're still running plenty of races and events. So there's still some great online racing to be had. The AI, they are more than capable of putting up a good fight. You can enjoy the racing. So if you've got ACC and haven't checked it out for a while, give it another go. Fire it back up again and remind yourself of what made this title so good. If you haven't got it, use the link to the Steam store that I'll put in the video description. Check to see whether it's on sale. If it is, grab it. For a few quid, you will get so much enjoyment and access to so many great cars and tracks. And you know, if it's not on sale, which I can't remember the last time it wasn't, then just put it on your wish list. So that was my look at Assetto Corsa Competizione here in 2025, to see what I thought of it, how I feel about it, and whether as sim racers we should still be driving it. Let me know in the comments. Did you buy ACC? Did you pass ACC by? Will you be taking a look at it and picking it up when it's going cheap in a Steam sale? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching. You know what to do if you enjoyed the video. And in the meantime, Happy sim racing. Bye bye.